Hey all, in this video we are still working on lesson 6 random numbers, and we are picking up on puzzle 5 or skill set 5. So let's see what they have us doing in this skill set. And of course we need to restart the program so you don't see all my answers yet. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at what we need to do. So these two flowers use a single variable to store their petal size, but the value stored in the variables changes in the middle of the program. Let's update the program so we can see. So let's see here. Let's update the program so each petal appears with different sizes each time the program is run. So we want to go ahead and we want the flower sizes. We want the petals. All the petals are the same size. They're not changing. So we want to go ahead and update it so the petal sizes are changing. All right, so let's take a look how we're going to do this. Update the first flower's petals to random size. So let's see here. So we have a variable petal size. Background is green. So update the first flower's petal to random size. So petal size is 30 right here. So this is the first petal, and this petal size is 30. So instead of 30, we want to go to our math drawer, pull out random number, drop it right here, and we want to go ahead and we want to do the random. So we did that. So find the first time that is used. We've got it right here. And change the variable, drag out the number, drag out the random number block to the right side of the petal size variable. So we did that. Update the parameters of the petal random block. So we did that as well. So we're going to go ahead, I'm going to change the petal size from 1, and we're going to go all the way up to, let's call it 50. Let's see what happens to our first petal. And it's going pretty good, but let's go ahead and take a look at the other size for the petal is. So for the second one, fill purple. All right, so let's run it again. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it going so small, but we'll keep it there for right now. So let's just go ahead and give me 1 second. All right, and we're going to change this instead of 50. We're going to make it 70. We're going to make it a little bit bigger. All right, so now let's go ahead and go to the second thing we need to do. Update the second flower's petal to a random size as well. So what we need to do is we need to find the second time the petal size variable is used. So here's the first time it's used. So if we're going through the code, nothing. All right, and then right here, line 17, we've got petal size, and they're setting it to 60. And so again, we want to change it to random. So we'll drop it right there. And we're going to keep it 1 there, but we're going to go ahead and change that to 70. So drag out the random, drag out the random block to the right side of the petal size variable for the second flower. We did that. And then update the parameters, which we did from 1 to 70. All right, let's go ahead and reset and run. Let's see what happens. So as we're running it, we can see that we now have different sizes for both the flowers. And yep, so yep, it looks like it's working pretty good. Run the code multiple times, and we do see that the petal size and length are changing. So I think we're good with this. So let's go ahead and click on finish and move on to 6. All right, so we are now at the practice section. So for skill set 6 is practice. So practice with random numbers. So we are going to be doing practices A, B, and C. So let's go ahead and start with A. And once we are with A, we are going to go ahead and then start over. And let's see what they're telling us to do here. So this for this scene represents several planets. So we run it, and I guess we got a bunch of planets right here. Right now, they're all the same size. So all the planets are the same size. Let's use random numbers to change the size of each planet to generate a new planet scene every time the program is run. So if we take a look at right here, the size, the height, and the width are changing for the planets, but if you keep in mind, the X and the Y locations are not changing. So we are going to be we're not going to be changing the X or the Y sections. Those are going to stay the same. We are going to be making it random right here for the the height and the width though. So all the height and width needs to get changed to be in random. All right, so let's see what it's telling us to do. So note you can click on the instrument below to expand them and to see more specific instructions. All right, so what it's telling us to do, update each planet to be a random size each time that the program is run. All right, so we're going to go to our math drawer, and we're going to go ahead and pick this out, and we're going to drop it right here. And we're just going to change the height and the width of each ellipse. We're not going to touch the color. We're not going to touch anything else. We're just going to go to the height, and we're going to go to the width. And we're just going to make it random numbers each time. And that didn't work. There we go. Do the same thing here, and we're almost done. And we're going to keep going. Keep going. Now, once we got this, now the next thing we need to keep in mind is we don't want the planet to be just one. I mean, that's pretty darn small. So we're going to change it to maybe 10, and then we're going to change this to maybe 60. So we want these, we want this to be all over the board. So we're going to change this from 10 to 60, and we're going to change this each time. 10, and we're going to go 60 right here, and then for each one, we're going to do 10, 60, and then we're going to use the tab button, make it a lot easier. 60, 10, 60, tab, 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 10, 60, tab, 10, 60, tab, 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 10, 60, 10, 60, tab, 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 10, 60, 10, 60. All right. So we got all our height and width updated. Let's kind of run it. And we can see that we've got a nice little, all of them are changing, just like this right here. And yeah, so it looks like we're about finished with that. So let's go ahead and finish it and move on to B. All right, so let's go ahead and do B. And this is going to be debugging. So we got to figure out where the problem is on this. So we're going to click on B. And time to debug. All right, so let's find the bugs. So for this right here, Isaac wrote a program that created 3 rectangles in the same position using a variable x position. He tried to update his code to have the rectangles still appear together, but at a random position. But his code doesn't work. Instead, each rectangle appears at a different position. Can we fix this code so that the animation appears like the animation on the right? All right, so we want to go ahead and figure out how we're going to do that in version history. So let's run it. And so it's running, but yeah, it's all over the board. And what we want is we want these, we want all the blocks to be aligned. We want to change it, but we want all the blocks aligned. All right, so let's see how we can have this. Give me 1 second. All right, so for this solution right here, what this person is doing is he's generating a random number for x each time, and so what we're having here is the x number is not the same. So a better solution for this is in order to the better solution for this is to use the variable x position as a random number. So we're going to move that random number right here, and we're going to say, and we're going to change it from 150 to 300. So we're going to make the x position could be anywhere between 0 and 300. And next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this variable x position, and we're going to use that as the x position, and we're going to go ahead and get rid of that variable on that function and put x position there. And we're going to get rid of the x value there, and we're going to run it at the x position. So if we hit reset and run, our program is going to now use the x position as a random x. So each one of these squares are going to be starting at a random position, but what's happening here is it's going to be the same x position for all of them. And so what we have now is something similar to what the picture is, and we are set ready to go with this. So we'll go ahead and click on finish. All right, and the next one we're going to go to is modify scene. So let's go ahead and click on modify scene. All right, and let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on with this. All right, so for this scene, what we need to do is you have learned how to randomize things, so it's time to put all of that knowledge to use in this scene. So we're going to use random numbers to randomize the position of the sun and the mountains. All right, so how are we going to do this? You can click on the instruments below to expand them and see more specific instructions. So we've got drawings, so we got all this good stuff here, and if we go to math, we've got our random numbers there, and if we go to variables, these are the variables we're able to use, the variable x is equal to, and then some comments. So run your code multiple times, so we'll run the code here, run the code here, run the code here, so nothing's moving anywhere, so we got no randomization anywhere. All right, so let's see here. So note you can click on the instruments section to expand it. All right, so what we need to do, randomize the x position of the sun, randomize the x position of the mountains. All right, so let's start with the sun, randomize the x position of the sun. So let's see where they go ahead and make the sun. So randomize the x position of the sun. So here is fill yellow and the ellipse of 80, 50. All right, so we've got the ellipse, so we know what the we know what the x and y. All right, and give me 1 second here. Let's see what happens if we expand that. No, let's pull that back in. All right, and give me just 1 second. All right, so for this right here, so it's telling us to randomize the x position of the sun. So here's the x position right here is 80. So first thing we need to do in order to do that is we need to make a variable for the x position, and the x position needs to be a random number, and we want the random number to be between, let's say, let's go with 10, and let's make it 300. All right, so now we've got an x variable, a variable x that's a random number. And so the next thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and make our variable right here. So instead of 80, we want this to be x. So now let's go ahead and see what happens if we run it. And now we can see that the sun is moving it to different locations because we've got our variable x at a random number, and it's all over the place. Good. So randomize the x position of the sun. Next thing we need to do is we need to randomize the x position of the mountains. So all these positions right here, all these mountains, we need to go ahead and change these around. They've got it 100 and 300 and 210 and then 390. And so we're going to do the same thing that we did before. We are going to go ahead and go to our variables, and we're going to declare a variable down here. And just give me 1 second. All right, so for the second part right here, for the mountains, these are a little bit more complicated because we're not just messing with just one shape. We are now changing 5 different shapes here. So we're not going to be able to use the variable x. So what we want to do is we want to use the function random, and we want to go ahead and substitute that for each one of the x locations right here. And so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and pull out random here. We'll drop it there. And we'll pull out random, and we're going to drop it in the x location here. We'll pull out random. We'll drop it in the x location here. And same thing here. And same thing here. And so what this is going to do now is that we are going to have mountains at different x locations. So all we're doing is changing the x locations. And we're going to change the random numbers to 350, which means that it can be anywhere from 1. So if you see x is 1, the mountains can be anywhere from right here all the way over to 350. Actually, you know what? Let's make it these last ones. Let's kick this up to 400. So the last 3 we'll change it to 400. And then this one right here, it will be 400. All right, and let's see what happens when we reset it and run it. So we run it, and so now we have our mountains being generated all over the board. Very similar to what they have with this right here. and they have the sun. For this right here, it looks like they randomized the yeah, so it looks like the Y location on that's changing a little bit, but we're not going to worry about that. We just know that our mountains are changing as they're supposed to, and the sun location is changing as well. So let's make sure we met the parameters. Randomize the X location of the sun. We did that. And randomize the X position of the mountains. So we did that as well. All right, let's go ahead and we'll finish this one off. Continue. And that should lock us down for our practice. So we've finished all 3 practices. We'll go ahead and click on finish. And wait for it to finish. And let's see here. So next thing we need to do is going to be, I'll give you just 1 second.